Find it hilarious how people were saying that, oh, Final Fantasy is a dead brand. Yeah. Oh, the sales failures of 16, justifiably so, and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth just goes to show that nobody wants a woke Square Enix. But whenever you talk to these gooners and alarmists, they can never really point to anything specifically about what is woke and what is being, censored, other than just nebulous. They restricted Tifa's chest. No, nobody ever wants to have an honest conversation about that, so fuck it. I will. When Final Fantasy is done right, it is still the juggernaut in waiting. All anybody has to do is simply wake the sleeping giant. It's not about simply being turn-based. JRPG of the years gone by. No. I think the success of the Magic the Gathering cards goes to show you it's much more about having compelling characters, good artwork. I know that you can't really hear any of the music in the cards, but yeah, just having things that are fundamentally Final Fantasy instead of chasing trends. Just be you, and people will show up, because Hasbro CEO confirms Final Fantasy is the best-selling set in Magic the Gathering history. Lord of the Rings took 6 months to deliver $200 million of revenue. Final Fantasy took one goddamn day. Now, to be completely honest, the Lord of the Rings pack, if you guys remember that from, oh god, that was a few years ago at this point in time, if they didn't do Black Aragorn, yeah, probably also would have absolutely made a killing. But I think Magic the Gathering learned from that folly and didn't fuck up anything in regards to the Final Fantasy stuff, because honestly, like, these cards, we looked at some of them, especially when we were looking at some of the, like, there was a Safer Sephiroth card, and that shit looks fucking tremendous, by the way. But the artwork in this, I mean, there's a reason why I made $200 million in a day, okay? Because this shit is fantastic. Like, here's one Sephiroth card, and that is just, like, it's amazing artwork, okay? It's really good. And there's other cards that are in here that really blew my mind. There's only one that kind of stumbles a little bit, but it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. And none of it is unnecessary race swaps. Wild, right? Yeah. Simply adapt the thing that's popular, and it works out for you in a different medium. Fucking wild, right? Well, no one but the most stubborn of anti-universes beyond critics could possibly be surprised to learn that a crossover between the world's most popular RPG and the TCG has proven insanely successful. No. The people, I see them whenever Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is brought up, or how Square Enix is just, a woke lolcow. It's just they can't do anything right. But anyways, it's unlikely that anyone could have come close to predicting the sheer speed and explosivity of the Magic the Gathering X Final Fantasy set has proven itself to the best-selling in the game's entire history. Gangbuster success of Magic the Gathering's material-laden efforts has been confirmed by Hasbro CEOs Chris Cox during the company's Quarter 2 2025 earnings call, which was held on the 23rd of July, 5 weeks after the Final Fantasy set was released to the public. 5 goddamn weeks. That's crazy. Turning to offer the TCG's quarterly performance report near the top of the call, Cax beamed to investors. Wizards of the Coast had a standout quarter, particularly as Magic the Gathering continues to deliver, growing 23% year over year in the second quarter and up 32% year to date, which, okay, knowing a lot of the stuff that Wizards of the Coast is doing and Magic the Gathering specifically, I'm not happy to see that, because they're a really shady and an incredibly shitty company, but I like to see my favorite gaming franchise succeed and thrive, even if it isn't in, numbered entries into the series. This isn't just a one-off moment. It's a clear indication of the power of Magic's community. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We're seeing strength across every key performance indicator. Yeah, look at all of this shit that didn't sell even close to as well as the Final Fantasy crossover did. But yeah, even the poo-poo creature card, like, it's pretty basic stuff, but it's quite analogous to where you meet up with him. Final Fantasy VIII, oh god, I forget the specific area, but isn't it right outside the garden where you first meet Irvine, where he's going to classes? I think. Pretty sure. Yes, continuing his praise for the brand's current performance levels, Cox continued Final Fantasy, the latest release in the universe's Beyond portfolio, is already the highest grossing Magic set ever, and Secret Lair, our direct-to-consumer collectible business, just delivered the strongest sales quarter in its history. It's not just about our new releases either. Our backlist Magic sets have already set an all-time annual sales record, and we're only 6 months into the year. That's a testament to the depth and durability of Magic's value to players, collectors, and fans alike. A system of over 22,000 cards that retain full compatibility, unless of course we deem them to be racist, sexist, or bigoted or something like that, then we just go ahead and silently get rid of them. But then once you do that, then they just end up going and fetching astronomically high prices. Organized play is on fire. We saw nearly 40% year-over-year increase in unique players during the first half of 2025, a clear signal that our play programs are bringing new energy and deeper connections to local communities. Final Fantasy set a record for new player growth, delivering more new players in the first 2 weeks than any prior set posted over an entire season. That is fucking wild. But yeah, again, look at these cards. Yo, that Chocobo card is fucking cool. It was popping out over the artwork and shit like that. Like, that's great. And it's that short-beaked design for a Chocobo that doesn't look like some kind of a fucked up horse where it's got the longer beak, and I don't really like it at all. Looks so happy. In fact, so strong were the Final Fantasy related Magic sales that Hasbro CFO COO Gina Goddard that the TCG was single-handedly keeping the company afloat. Yeah, because he makes stupid decisions like hiring Corrine Bush, the former game director for Dragon Age the Veilguard, to head up another one of your gaming divisions. But yeah, the net revenue came in at $981 million, essentially flat year over year, and the strength of Magic adjusted operating profit delivered $247 million with an adjusted operating margin of 25.2%, which was up 20 basis points versus last year. You had a bunch of financial jargon. Let's just continue to look at cards because they're great. This is the one there. It's like, yeah, this is some CalArts type shit. As a little bit cringe and a lot less dynamic, but it's not that's actually quite bad. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll give you that one. But Prompto just literally taking a screenshot from a scene that you would see in 15. Game that man, I might play that after I'm done with 12, because just a little bit of an update on that. I'm about, what, 3/4 of the way through the game, and it's about as bad as I remember it being. Fucking just devoid of characters. The plot is basic, but it somehow finds a way to get intensely convoluted going into the third act, and it's just, the characters fucking suck, man. There's no reason that game should suck the way that it does, but just how it fumbles a pretty basic setup that is really intriguing is just, man, I just don't like 12. I don't like 12 at all, and the changes from Zodiac Age are just fucking minuscule at best. No, I'm never going to play that game again. But yes, I'm real close to platinuming it because, yeah, there's just so many goddamn hunts. Holy shit. That is one thing that Final Fantasy used to do. Just a little bit of a tangent, but we're still talking about Final Fantasy. Don't worry about it. It just, those games, it used to be stacked to the brim, okay? They just used to be plump full of side quests and fun things to do outside of the main story, which was still a very laborious campaign in and of itself. But just the number of hunts that there are in 12 and the other, not proclaimed side quests that you can experience, like, there's just so much stuff to do, something that 16 was totally devoid of. Well, at least it really did come across that way because those side quests were just so basic, bitch. Go over there and talk to that guy. Here's 500 experience points. Shut up. But yeah, 15, back when I played it when it first launched, I remember all of those side quests, like, what was it, like a week I was playing the game even before you got into chapter 3, because you could get the ultimate set of daggers before you get to chapter 3 of 10 or 12. Might be 12 with all the new DLC, but yeah, I do want to go back to play that game. But the fact that I could still remember those characters' names, as opposed to now that I'm a couple of weeks removed from playing 16, like, I can remember Ralph Innocent as Sid, and that's about it. Like, Clive is such a fucking plank of wood. Like, I'm sure Ben Starr's great and other things, but fuck, he sucked playing Clive. But if anybody on Earth can give me one character trait about Jill other than she likes Clive, I would love to hear it, because fucking just awful characters. But anyways, there's a reason why you don't see any Final Fantasy 16 cards in this Magic set. But yes, so I think that there's a little bit of a kind of our bullishness is on Final Fantasy, going back to what the earnings call had to say. What drove success for it? I think it's a couple of things. First and foremost, finding the right IPs or great adjacencies to the Magic fans might appeal to, or what Magic might appeal to another fan base. Lord of the Rings was fantastic because it's kind of the granddaddy of fantasy. It's kind of? No, bitch, it is, okay? And one thing that you might remember is the one rando who ended up pulling the One Ring card, the one of one card that was out there, and he having a total fucking breakdown because Post Malone put out a bounty on that card, and it ended up getting him like $1 point some odd million off of it. But yeah, Black Aragorn definitely stifled any sort of excitement for that release, because again, like, that's another franchise that just is so ripe for it's just so ripe for adaptation, but everybody fucks it up. It's an easy layup, but they overthink it and overcomplicate it. I think it has a stronger cross-regional appeal, talking about Final Fantasy, and it's probably more of the sweet spot in gaming than Lord of the Rings. Yeah, sure, because it's a gaming IP after all, has because it was kind of born from gaming. Kind of, wow, this is why you make the big bucks, huh? So potentially, the overlap of fan bases was stronger than you might have even seen for something like Lord of the Rings. And again, you know, you didn't make Sephiroth a obese lesbian, okay? You actually showed Beatrix from Final Fantasy IX off better than she even was in the games, because not to say that, you know, she wasn't awesome. In fact, that's one of my big laments of 9 is that she doesn't ever join the party, mostly because Roses of May, her theme is, ooh god, it might be my favorite piece of Final Fantasy music. It's fucking great. I just really like Beatrix. Like, she's a great character in 9. And so yeah, when you're just like making cards that are faithful to the source material, when you're giving the people what they want, it's no surprise that you reap the benefits, which is why Magic will always be Magic and fuck up a surefire victory like you did with Lord of the Rings. Where, yeah, if you just would have had Viggo Mortensen Aragorn instead of Snoop Dogg Aragorn, it would have been a slam dunk. But anyways, Magic the Gathering looking to expand female player base with more women-centric crossovers. Oh, it's so fucking well, it's been over for a while, but it's never been more over. Don't be surprised if you see us poking into romantic, looking at K-pop bands. There's a reason why I set everything up with the Final Fantasy game, because we sold $200 million worth of cards in a day, and now you're trying to get into fan bases that don't give a fuck because, yeah, you fumbled the bag with Lord of the Rings because it wasn't quite analogous enough to trading card games. But you think K-pop bands are gonna be? Fucking god damn it, man. Get women out of this stuff. Yo, man, look at this! Look at this! It's so fucking cool! Oh, man. That Japanese art, the classic, traditional Japanese art style of the Nibelheim incident. Just, oh, man, it's so fucking cool. But yes, on the backs of the recent massive win with the it should be that they ostensibly just notched with the same demographic thanks to the recent team up with Final Fantasy. Hasbro has revealed that Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering are looking to expand the popular TCG's female appeal with a number of specific IP collaborations, the partners of which could span from romantic franchises to full-on K-pop bands. Fucking great. What a waste of effort. Because, yeah, there you go. You had a Marvel crossover that I didn't even know about before. But, yeah, instead of having Spider-Man, you just have some derivative Spider-Girl. And, yeah, the art's not bad, but still, what the fuck are you doing? You have Sephiroth, you have Cloud, you have your faces of the franchise. And go with this shit? But, yes, the tease towards Magic the Gathering's future was offered by Hasbro CEO Chris Cox during the company's earnings call. During the Q&A portion of the presentation, Cox pressed by Roth Capital analyst Eric Handler as what he perceives as a demographic shift in the specific franchise being tapped for the game's universal beyond crossover cards, as based on his own observations that recent collaborations had angled away from classic franchises like Doctor Who or Transformers in favor of more recent hits like Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, Edgy the Hedgie has his own card, but you take a look, like Transformers is doing decently. I think that there's a comic run that's out there that's being fairly well received, but Doctor Who is fucking dead. So yeah, pivoting to a much more successful and much more lucrative franchise makes a lot of sense. And yeah, earlier this week I was talking about the viability of Spider-Man even with the languishing superhero franchise at the box office. It's like, yeah, that totally makes sense. And Sonic, well, he's just never popular. Just a base level of popularity. Never quite reaching the heights that he did back in the 90s, but still, you know, close enough. With regards to our player demographics in our presentation, it says that the average tabletop player is about 35 years old. And now that you've got Spider-Man, which theoretically skews a bit younger, theoretically, but as somebody who is, well, smack dab right on that demographic, I can tell you, like, Spider-Man's been popular my entire life. And so he might appeal to younger audiences, but he still has broad appeal. And I got, anyways, Avatar, okay, which is, yeah, much more tweens type product. Something that, yeah, probably also resonates with that same age range because, yeah, when the show was going on, I didn't watch it. I didn't have access to Nickelodeon, and it didn't really appeal to me at all. You could say it could be angled towards tweens, but yeah, guys in their 30s, yeah, it would resonate with them quite a bit. So yeah, I'm curious about what you're thinking, the demographic shift. Maybe getting younger from Magic in turn, Cox asserted. Won't do the cheeky answers. New player average is always the kind of that 11 to 14 year age range. Yeah, because you want lifelong fans of the franchise, obviously. The thing with Magic players is that they never really stop playing. The median age goes up over time because people play into their 50s and 60s. Yeah, interesting. And the people that got hooked on the product back in the day, you didn't have any of these big IP crossovers crossovers, but okay. So things like Sonic the Hedgehog in general efforts, we have like Secret Lair, and that just helps us test and learn new IPs as ways to be able to expand the demos of the game. And then it's not just about age. Magic, I think, does better than most hardcore games or enthusiast games in terms of penetration with people who identify as female. Ugh. But we still have a ways to go there. Okay, I think 30% of the player base today are women, and we'd like to see that increase over time. Of course you do, because who has the most expendable income? Who are the ones who are most likely to be spinsters? And just happy and independent while I just chug down my boxes of wine every night while I lament my life choices in private, but in public. I'm happy I have my bachelor's degree and 6 digits of student debt. I'm happy I made the right choice. You just hope that they go to the corner store while they're picking up their Plan B, and then they grab a booster pack. Whatever. So don't be surprised if you see us poking into romantic. Don't be surprised if you see us looking at K-pop bands. Nothing is off the table. So you'll admit that you scuttled the great opportunity that you had with Lord of the Rings, that you realize that you have tremendous success with the likes of Final Fantasy, but you want to double down on the female audience. You get what you fucking deserve. And so as much as I can go ahead and praise the excellent art from the different Final Fantasy crossover cards that I see, I will also reserve the right to call Magic the Gathering a collection of fucking dimwits. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.